Four Knights of the Apocalypse chapter 75 has just released, and I already have to say I like this a hell of a lot better than the last chapter. Last chapter was pretty good, but it gave the feeling that this arc and fight was dragging a little bit. But this chapter in particular really made me feel like, okay, we're finally gearing up towards the end. I see an endpoint in sight, and we also get some setup with Tristan and even potentially Lancelot within the next few chapters. Percival does get back up, and he does honestly something very great for himself, and really contributes to the fight even more than he did previously. But this chapter ended off with a really big cliffhanger with Tristan, and I want to get into that. But before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help. I'm trying to get back into the grind with these Four Knights videos, so it'll be very much appreciated if you guys like and subscribe and to show that you guys still enjoy my Four Knights content, and it'll help with the YouTube algorithm. But with that said and done, let's hit that intro and get right into the chapter. Chapter 75 of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, Royal Holy Knights vs. Manga. And I like the first page with the actual chapter shows Isolde, Hendrickson, and Dreyfus, the three main named characters, important named main characters at the very tip of the top of the page, and at the bottom we just get the miscellaneous knights and no-name knights as well, just going further down in terms of just unimportance and the fodder type of ability, which is I just find kind of funny. But anyway, we start off from last week with Isolde leading the charge with Hendrickson and Dreyfus assisting on the attack against Manga, as all the Holy Knights begin to land attack after attack after attack, with Dreyfus even bringing up why would they use such a monstrous thing like this to be their pawn, and they just need to stop it. They managed to knock Manga down, and a big burst of flames manages to hit them, which I believe is from Isolde's magic, as she did land a few hits earlier, as the bomb ability does detonate. We once again get told how the Four Knights of the Apocalypse need to be protected, and they are essential for defeating this threat. We cut to Hendrickson healing and treating Tristan, as the hope from all the knights managed to wake up Percival, and he begins to glow with the power of hope as he creates a giant Percival golem aura head from that. As everyone's like, what is with this thing? This power is strange. But it's also like very warm, as the Percival energy just disperses, and we see in this big half-page spread, the mini Percival core has arrived. I know I said it like a child because that's how it's said in the text. So all of the Percival golems have just flung down into the area, and I like how everyone's just in awe of just the sheer amount of these things that Percival managed to create, because I think this is the most golems Percival has ever been able to create. And Percival even notices that these guys have like little helmets and capes as well, which is more detail since the previous Percival golems. And I like how just Hendrickson and Dreyfus are like, those are the miracle back patches that I had, the back compress fairy that helped with my back pains, and Hendrickson just wants to study it. But Nazians brings up the very important fact that these golems, they have intelligence and they're growing faster than ever before. They're growing smarter little by little. So it's very possible that they're growing as more and more hope gathers around Percival. So the more people that are kind of give Percival hope, the more intelligent and more power that Percival golems have. That's honestly a really nice thing to do with the power for Percival, but he's always just lecturing all the other knights, being like, don't relax just yet, this thing is still alive. As she is proven right, with Manga just unleashing a snake tail from their torso, which, okay, again, this is an amalgamated creature, so yeah, we're gonna see a lot of weird stuff with this thing. But they managed to land a bunch of hits on a lot of the miscellaneous knights. Dreyfus obviously blocks it, and Isolde does dodge, but the miscellaneous knights are flung about. One of the guys even feels like he's about to die. All his bones are broken. But then a Percival golem comes in, sings, well, pain, go away, like a child, and then completely heals the knight. from a fatal wound. This is probably the strongest Percival's healing has been since he was literally revived from the dead because of it. Dravis then collapses from his back pains, and the Percival Golem then completely heals his back pains. And I like Dravis' reaction, this is just hilarious. But Meligaland goes in for the attack once more, as obviously if I were Meligaland, despite being a brainwashed sociopath amalgamation chimera type creature, I would also be annoyed with the little light golems basically bringing back everyone that I was just trying to kill from the brink of death. So, Meligaland then uses Zanbarazan, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and does a bunch of aerial lance attacks onto the ground, flinging everyone back and forth. Donnie and An are just thrown away without much damage. An realizes that at this rate, the damage to the town will be, and then she cuts off, as she then runs off somewhere. Where is she gonna go? I don't know, but I feel like this is gonna lead to something. Personally, it's very possible, hey, maybe she will go off and find Lancelot. Or not. I have no idea. I feel like Nakba is setting stuff up for the Percival gang to do some important stuff, because in the last 2 chapters, Donnie managed to get Meligaland off balance long enough for Gawain to deal damage. The previous chapter showed Nazian dispelling the poison that Meligaland used. This week, we're going to have to see what An is going to bring to the table for this battle, so we'll have to look forward to it. I have faith that Nakba is going to do something really creative with her, as he's done with the rest of the Percival gang. We then see the Meligaland on top of the rubble, as Isolde is wondering, how much can this thing take? Our attacks are barely doing anything to it. But then Percival charges with his mini Percival core to attack Meligaland with sword in hand. Meligaland blocks the sword with its forearm, but this thing is then pushed back, as we see that Percival is still pushing the sword into its forearm. The armor in it is cracking, he managed to pierce it, and then Meligaland tries to punch away Percival, but is then blocked by a bunch of mini Percivals being like, we're gonna beat you, or just let me at him, like Scrappy-Doo in that pose. It is honestly kind of hilarious. Leave it to Nakba to put some moments of levity with Percival. Any fight, no matter how dire, as long as Percival does these mini Percival golems, it will always just have a breath of levity and positivity. And that's something I really do enjoy. So Meligaland's attack is blocked, and Percival lands to the ground, and Meligaland is about to land another hit, but Percival dodges out of the way and spins around Meligaland's giant muscular arm, managing to slice up a bit of the arm, causing Meligaland to bleed, dealing some damage, and Percival keeps flying about, as Percival's basically the only person that's actually managed to do any real damage outside of Gawain earlier. Percival keeps slashing and slashing and slashing. We see him pushing Meligaland back and back and back, saying like, this is the power of hope. Power is springing out directly from my body. The way I am now, I could beat the Dark Talismans, and even that ancient dragon. But we then cut to Percival wrapped around with Meligaland's tail, bleeding and being crushed. He states, but Meligaland is still too strong. And much to the horror of Nazian, Percival is getting squeezed to death. As Meligaland states, I'll start with you. And next, Meliodas and Elizabeth's son. So, obviously the next target is Tristan. But then Meligaland gets hit with another explosion, managing to let go of Percival, and Nazian catches his best friend. Isolde states that she won't let Meligaland attack Tristan. Meligaland tells Isolde that they must realize by now that the powers won't do anything on them. They are above what the Holy Knights can do. But we see that Isolde's attack did do something to Meligaland. She managed to blow off Meligaland's tail. We get a nice little panel of Tristan seemingly regaining consciousness, as Isolde is stating that magical power in essence is something that is very special. It speaks from one's own strength, will, thoughts, and experience, stating that she will crush anyone that dares to hurt Tristan, and that her magical ability is called Love Bomb. Her magical power is born from her love for Tristan. Okay, that's very direct, and that is a nice way to be like, unlocking your magical power depends on your experience, your willpower, your memories, your soul, etc. So that is a nice little bit of world building in the sense of how someone could potentially gain magical powers outside of a hereditary means, and does help with with more variety of abilities. But after this brief little speech, Isolde is then smacked away by Melegalon, saying, "Take that love with you and die." As Tristan witnesses this with his own eyes, Isolde is thrown to the ground, with Dreyfus trying to run towards her and come to her aid. Melegalon then uses one last swipe, blocking Dreyfus's way and blowing him back a bit. As Melegalon slowly creeps up to Isolde, who is very injured from that direct hit from Melegalon, stating that they'll stomp on her. Along with this cheap love of hers, we then get a panel of the stomp, the thud. But then we cut away and see that Isolde is gone, only to see Tristan holding her in his arms, saying that she always does this, pushing herself for his sake. And I gotta draw parallels to the original Seven Deadly Sins and Meliodas, because this is exactly the same panel, even though it's a little flipped, that Nakaba did with Meliodas, when he went to get Elizabeth from Hendrickson when he was becoming a demon. Picking her up in his arms, eyes covered by his hair, getting ready to go all serious after Elizabeth was gravely injured. Same thing with Isolde, so in this moment, like father, like son. Isolde is happy to see Tristan, but Melegalon begins to slash over at Tristan, who he manages to dodge effortlessly is on the other side of Melegalon, once again trying those parallels to Meliodas in his fight against Hendrickson in the Seven Deadly Sins. He hands Isolde off to Hendrickson, as Hendrickson was being like, "Wait, you can't seriously fight that thing on your own." But Tristan just tells him in a very serious and stern tone. I get this from the panel itself being all black in the borders in the background, as Tristan just says, "I'm asking you, as soon as you can, call for Lancelot." And Melegalon ends up thinking, "Oh, can't you even fight without your friends?" As the next panel, when we flip the page, Tristan rips the Melascula face from the side of Melegalon right off. As he states, with the very last panel, "I can't control myself on my own," with the special text stating, "Now Tristan can't be controlled by anyone anymore." And the next chapter is called Advent. So I really feel like we're entering the final stages of this arc and this fight with Melegalon, as now Tristan seems to have gone full beast mode. So yeah, that's the chapter, and Nakaba teased us with Tristan's demon powers and not fully being able to control it back in chapter 68, when he did this power to basically one-hit KO Demon Snake Melascula. And now, he casually ripped off the Melascula head on the side of Melegalon like it was nothing, because of how pissed he was. I see he inherited his father's very short temper, very dangerous temper. I can't wait to see this. And I have to say, this is starting to confirm something that I was thinking, that I spoke about in a video I did about a month ago with the Tristan's true potential video that I did a while ago. And one of the facts was that Tristan can't control his demon powers. And this chapter seems to more or less confirm it, as Tristan sensed himself about to lose control, as he can't really control himself on his own. Which is why he told Hendrickson to call for Lancelot as soon as he possibly can. Because it seems like since Percival's down and out for now, Gawain's unconscious, it seems like the only person that could actually stop Tristan from getting fully consumed by his anger and going all out is Lancelot. Tristan did say that Lancelot was stronger than him. That might not have been Tristan just being modest. Lancelot might actually be just strong enough to subdue Tristan once he loses control of his demon powers. And I can't wait for that, because Lancelot's the only character who is not exhausted. Tristan isn't fully exhausted, but he's casually doing some pretty crazy feats with his demon powers. And I can't wait to see his next chapter is definitely going to be just Tristan going apeshit on Melegalon, and something I cannot wait for. But yeah, that was the chapter. I enjoyed it. I liked Percival getting some nice hits in on Melegalon and pushing them back a bit. Even the evolution of his power of hope, giving his mini Percivals more intelligence and a bit more of an ego to a certain extent, being able to heal people from near fatal wounds in almost an instant. and giving him enough of a push to actually deal some damage and block a good amount of blows from Meligaland. While it still wasn't enough, it is confirmed that he probably would have been able to solo the Dark Talismans that gave him and the group a lot of trouble in the previous arc, and even that Ancient Dragon, which he wasn't able to do too much against and needed Hauser to step in. So Percival is still growing, but he's still very far behind the rest of the 4 knights. And now we got Tristan coming in and about to deal some major damage and bust some heads. Or in this case, rip them right off. 4 Knights of the Apocalypse is honestly really feels like it's gearing up to something. Just when I think it's dragging a little bit, Nakaba brings in a chapter that just really wants me to come back into this series all hyped as all hell. Nakaba knows how to end the chapter on a really good cliffhanger, and I'm just excited to see what happens next. But what do you guys think of this chapter? Did you think that this really made you feel like, okay, we're finally going to see an endpoint to this arc? We're going to see Tristan go apeshit? Are we going to see Tristan going full out, no holds bar, perhaps even some potential collateral damage, see some more demon moves? And will Lancelot show up to actually calm Tristan down by the time this fight is over? And when is Arthur showing up? Because the next chapter is called Advent, so it's definitely going to be a thing about Tristan's basic retribution to Meligaland. It might tease Arthur at the end of the chapter, so I'm just looking forward to this because I feel like we need this arc is potentially going to end within the next 5 or so chapters, if I'm being honest, from how the pacing has been so far. But yeah, I enjoyed this chapter. I can't wait for next week. I'm hyped for the next chapter, and I hope you guys are too. Leave your thoughts and opinions down below on everything from this chapter. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Everything about Tristan and Percival and the whole Meligaland thing, Isolde giving a little bit of piece of world building for how people get their initial magical powers. And when do you think Arthur's going to show up? Don's opinions down below. Once more, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help. And with all that's said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope to see you all next time.